Hey everyone, and welcome back to Series 2, Episode 1 of Mel Goes Wild. This episode is proudly sponsored by Hiker. Hiker is the world's hiking platform. Whether you're looking for a family walk in the woods, a solo hiking challenge, or your next great thru hiking adventure, Hiker will help you along the way. Hiker have also given our Gals Gone Wild community 25% off Hiker Pro. Click the link in the description and use code GGW. Let's begin with explaining what the hell thru hiking even is. So thru hiking is the act of hiking an established end-to-end trail in one direction with lots and heaps and loads of continuous footsteps in one direction. In Ireland, we are so lucky to have 44 established waymarked trails across Ireland, and these can be recognised by the black pillar and yellow person. The longest of those waymarked trails is the Ulster Way, which is 1,000 kilometres, and the shortest is the Cavan Way at 22. In September of 2021, 4 friends, Madeline, Sinead, Sarah, and I took on the oldest of these long-distance waymarked trails, the Wicklow Way. We hiked and wall-camped 150 kilometres over 6 days, each carrying our own tents, sleeping bags, mats, food, clothing, and other essentials. In this episode, I share our experience and use the Wicklow Way trail as a template for long-distance hiking. My hope is that you will leave feeling inspired with new knowledge to help you complete your own waymarked trail or thru hike, both confidently, safely, and with a little bit of sass. In this episode, we will cover the following topics, answer some of your GGW community questions, and as always, I'll share my top tip on the subject of thru hiking. All right, let's get hiking! Preparation. Remember, the physical preparation for a thru hike varies from person to person, so what might actually work for me may not work for you. To give you an idea of how best to prepare physically, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Answering these questions honestly will give you a good indicator of the type of physical preparation you may need to do. If it turns out the trail you wanted to do doesn't suit your current ability, no problem. You just need to give yourself more time. Time to increase your fitness, time on the trails to get more mileage in the legs, time hiking with additional weight in your day pack, and time increasing your elevation. A good idea when training for any long distance hike, why not set smaller goals and complete a shorter trail? Because when you feel like you're making progress, momentum drives you forward to your end goal. These smaller goals will keep you accountable and inspired to keep going. So the reason and importance of preparing physically to avoid injury and keeping you safe on the trails. So how did I prepare my body for my Wicklow Way thru hike? I increased my fitness to avoid injury. I had a programme with Injury and Performance AT Own Feeney to get me prepped for the Wicklow Way. I got out onto the trails weekly. I wore a weighted day pack on hikes. I wore my boots and gear on my weekly hikes. And I stretched 3 to 4 times a week.
Yay! You did it!
Planning. Planning is important for so many reasons. Peace of mind, organisation, getting to both the start and finish line of your hike, but most importantly, it will massively reduce your risk of injury or having to call mountain rescue. Let's start with planning your route. A great app for this is Hiker. Hiker is like Google Maps for hikers. Hiker has thousands of trails worldwide and growing. It also allows you to filter trails based on trail type, linear or looped, location, distance, number of days to complete, total elevation, water sources, amenities, camping spots, B&Bs, pubs, shops, etc. You have a lot of options to navigate. I think a combination of paper maps and apps are a great way to navigate, but I would never rely on just one. We used Hiker to navigate along with the Wicklow Way map guide. Most waymarked trails are very well signposted. However, don't rely on this as there can be trail closures and diversions en route. These should also be signposted, but it's always a good idea to have both an app and a map. Hiker also allows you to download offline and printable maps of your route. If you're not confident using maps, there are lots of amazing 1 and 2 day navigation courses you can do, and I've listed some great ones in the description below. So the type of gear you bring will depend on the time of year that you are hiking. So you may need additional kit like warm layers, gloves and hats. What's great about hiking in a group is you can divide up some items like your pots and your pans and your gas and your stoves so that it will lessen the weight of your packs. Here is a complete list of everything that I packed for a 6-day Wicklow Way thru hike, not including food. Having a checklist of all the gear you're planning to bring is a good idea. It will keep things organised and is a visual reminder to ensure you don't forget to pack anything. The items underlined were divided between our group. We brought 2 stoves, 2 water filters, 2 pots and 2 small fuel canisters. We weighed it all to make sure the weight was split evenly. Some other things to note regarding gear before setting off on your thru hike. Making sure your gear is not damaged. For example, check your tent and tent poles. Make sure your sleeping mat isn't punctured. No rips or tears in your waterproof clothing. Zippers are working on gear and clothing. At home is the time to repair it. I would definitely include some Gorilla Glue in your kit for emergencies. And it's always a good idea to wash and re-waterproof your boots, jackets and pants. Water. How do you carry water? How much water should you carry? Where should you refill water? You can carry your water in a bottle, multiple bottles or a bladder. For this trip I decided to carry a 1 litre bottle along with the 1 litre reservoir that comes with my quick draw water filter. Why? Having to take your water bladder in and out of your backpack is a pain in the ass. Carrying a bottle of water is a lot easier to access in your pack. You can visibly see how much water you have and you can refill quicker and easier. I was able to check for water sources on the Hiker app ahead of our trip. You can see there are plenty of places to refill water. Some forward thinking is required. Just make sure you have refilled your water before you arrive at camp in case there are no water sources nearby. You should have enough water to drink and cook with, both for dinner and breakfast in the morning. I try to make sure to have almost 2 litres before arriving to camp. I refilled 90% of my water from fast flowing rivers and streams. There were only a handful of times I refilled my water from taps. The quick draw filter filters 3 litres of water per minute. Microfilter removes 99.999% of bacteria. Another option is chlorine tablets. They are lightweight to carry, but I personally don't like the strong taste of chlorine. Weather. Don't get caught out. I've seen too many people come off trail due to the weather conditions. Make sure to look ahead and check daily. Plan accordingly. Protect your gear is of the utmost importance. If there's one thing you want to achieve daily, keep your gear dry. Assessing risk is part of planning most outdoor adventure activities. However, I would imagine that most women feel the threat posed by other people when they're out on the trails a lot higher, and some are maybe even discouraged from going at all. So apart from all the practical safety advice that I will share with you in the next couple of slides, what other things can women do to stay safe in the outdoors? Honestly, nothing. Women have been living by practical safety advice for years. The onus is not on women to stay safe in the outdoors. The onus is on men to not attack them. In my experience, I have always felt safer in the arms of the outdoors than in cities. Is that to say, though, that I have never looked over my shoulder when I'm in the outdoors? Of course I have. It can be hard to completely let your guard down and switch off in the outdoors, and I don't think that you should either. However, don't let an overactive mind ruin your outdoor experience. Instead, I invite you to lean into logic. The statistical chances of someone who you will meet on the trail that is wanting to cause you harm is minute. The reality of your fears are probably more like getting injured, getting lost, or hearing some creepy weird sounds from deep within the dark forest. On all my solo adventures, I have never felt unsafe due to another person. Both men and women in the outdoors, I've always found both welcoming and approachable. Here are some helpful tips for my male friends to be better allies to women in the outdoors. If you're travelling behind or approaching a woman on the trail, make yourself known. Say hello, offer up a friendly wave or a smile. Keep your distance where possible and respect boundaries. Be friendly, not flirty. There is a great article that I would encourage our male outdoor allies to read that offers up 10 practical tips to make women feel safer and more comfortable on outdoor adventures. Practical safety for both men and women in the outdoors. Communication. Have a route, communicate that route with others. Rest. Give yourself enough rest breaks on trail. And when you arrive at camp, a rested body will give your body the chance to heal and repair. It will also keep your mind clear and focused. Food. Making sure you are getting enough calories in each day. Remember, food is fuel. Equipment. Carrying the correct equipment and safety items and knowing how to use them will keep you safe. Making sure your gear is stored correctly in your backpack and is protected against rain. Keep all gear in dry bags. Adhering to the Leave No Trace principle while you are on the trail. Click link in bio to watch episode on Leave No Trace. Limit. Knowing when you have reached your limit. Don't push through serious pain that may lead to a long-lasting injury. Plan a base weight. Your base weight is all your gear minus food, water and fuel. Then try to reduce your pack weight. Do you need that extra pair of undies, deodorant, shoes, pot? Now pack your bag, including food, water and fuel, to make sure it all fits. You're aiming for your pack to weigh anything under 10 or 11 kilos. If you want to be outdoors and hiking long distance trails, then at some point you're going to have to become comfortable with the uncomfortable, and you're going to have to pop your 3 P's cherries at some point. I don't think twice about getting my period, peeing or pooping when I'm hiking. Here are some tips to make that experience a little less daunting. So when you're peeing on the trail, and if you're in a group, why don't you ask the other members of your group to keep sketch for you, so they can see if anybody comes down the trail, they can ask them to politely wait a moment until you hop back on the trail when you're finished. Pooping. Find a spot off trail, away from water sources, dig a cat hole 6 inches deep, apply hand sanitizer, squat, poop in the hole, fill the hole back up with dirt, pack out your tissues, use a Ziploc bag or a black dog poop bag if you want to conceal used tissues. Place a Ziploc bag in your backpack away from food. When finished, use hand sanitizer. Peeing. Find a spot off trail in the privacy of the forest, surrounding foliage or bushes. Make sure your wildery spot is away from water sources. Apply hand sanitizer, then just simply squat. Pee, pack out all tissues, do not leave any tissues behind. Use a Ziploc bag or a black dog poop bag if you want to conceal used tissues. Place a Ziploc bag in your backpack away from food. When you're finished, use hand sanitizer. I got my period when I was doing the Wicklow Way. So initially I had wanted to bring my menstrual cup, but I forgot it. I left it in the car. So I actually had 3 emergency tampons for the first day. So yeah, it's really a personal preference, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you feel comfortable using your menstrual cup, great. If you don't and you feel more comfortable using pads or tampons, then that is the best way to go for you. Period. Tampons or pads. Follow steps 1 to 4 as before. Change tampon, pack out tampons or pads, use a Ziploc bag or a black dog poop bag if you want to conceal used period products. Note, used period products are nothing to be ashamed of. Place Ziploc bag in your backpack away from food, and when you're finished, use hand sanitizer. Menstrual cup. Find a spot off trail in the privacy of a forest, away from water sources, dig a cat hole 6 inches deep, apply hand sanitizer, squat, remove menstrual cup and empty contents into the hole. Clean menstrual cup with water and tissues, reinsert menstrual cup, fill the hole back up with dirt, use a Ziploc bag or black dog poop bag if you want to conceal used tissues. Note, again, used period products are nothing to be ashamed of. Place Ziploc bag in your backpack away from food, and when you're finished, use hand sanitizer. And that's basically it for peeing and pooping and periods on the trail. You know, there's not much else to it. Unfortunately, I think the main obstacle for women is getting over the fear of having to either pee or poop, getting their period when they're on their trail. Yes, it can be uncomfortable, but honestly, the more times that you do it, the easier it gets. Like I said, I do not think twice about popping down, squatting, changing my tampon or emptying my menstrual cup. You just got to find, I suppose, your comfort with it. So whatever is going to make you feel a lot less daunting, do that. Let's talk about food. When you're on a long distance or through hike, it's going to be really hard to carry all of your food with you. It's going to be very, very heavy. So what we did for the Wicklow Way, which was a 6-day hike, we actually split it up into 2 sections. So we carried 3 days worth of food, and then we had a cooler box located at our camp on day 3. We were able to resupply some of our food. So another reason why I like the Hiker app is because it actually lets you check for amenities along your route. So for places like pubs or cafes or restaurants or shops. So this is a handy little thing to be able to, I suppose, plan before you even set off in your hike. So you know that there can be like resupply stops along the way. Some other things to note. Protect your food. Keep your food at the top of your pack. Keep your food away from your gas canisters in case of leakage. Separate your food into days and then store them in Ziploc bags. Pack fresh food items like cheese, fruit and vegetables but eat these on day 1 or day 2 as they become perishable quite quickly. Make sure you're bringing enough food and also bringing enough of the foods you enjoy to eat. There is nothing worse than stopping for lunch only to chow down on rabbit food. Your body and soul needs the chocolate. Minimize food packaging waste on the trail by repacking what food you can into Ziploc bags for each day. Your Ziploc bag also doubles up as a bin bag for your food that day, making it easier to dispose of when you get to a bin. Minimize water weight in food. Freeze-dried meals are always a good option. I am a huge fan of T4 adventure meals. They are lightweight, big portions and packed with lots of flavour. In the next couple of slides, I'm going to show you exactly what we carried for our 6-day trip along the Wicklow Way. It's pretty much the same food every day. It can get quite boring. We decided to try and carry some like fresh fruit and vegetables on the first 2 days just to get some like good nutrients into us. However, I would say only bring those items for the first or second day because they're perishable and they just won't last. We had breakfast at home before we set off, so our meals on day 1 were lunch, which were Jacob's cracker packs, mini cheeses, a small bottle of Ballymaloe relish. I would definitely repackage this into a smaller bottle as I only used half. Mini pepperami salami snack pack, that's a mouthful. A Cliff Bar. For a snack we had Snicker bars, apples, orange. Dinner was a freeze-dried meal. For day 2, breakfast was porridge pots. Some brands already have the dried milk powder added, so you just add water. I took my porridge out of the pot and into Ziploc bags. I added nuts, seeds and dried berries. Pippin Nut peanut butter sachets, great for a topping for porridge. I also had black coffee. I poured 6 servings of coffee granules into a Ziploc bag for each day. Lunch was 2 chorizo spicy sticks, crackers, cheese and relish. Snack was Nature Valley protein bar, an orange, 2 ginger chews, and dinner was a freeze-dried meal. So luxury items. These are items that I feel are probably the most important in your backpack because after 6 days on the trail, you just want a little bit of comfort and a little bit of luxury and something that's just going to like boost your mood. So for me, they're probably going to be different to what it is that you would like to bring with you on your thru hike. But for me, my items were were a little bit strange maybe. I have tried almost every type of pillow for camping. For a while I used the stuff sack of my sleeping bag and would stuff my clothing inside it to reduce pack weight, but it's just not the same. So my first luxury item is my Thermarest compressible pillow. Pippin Nut peanut butter sachets are liquid gold. They are the perfect trail snack over porridge, over fruit, over chocolate and rice cakes. My final luxury item has to be Tiger Balm. I repotted it into a tiny plastic container and then I use this in the morning as part of my self-care routine before hitting the trail. So depending on the length of your trail, thru hiking can either be very affordable or it can be very expensive. Some ways to minimize cost. Can you borrow gear? Can you camp instead of staying in an Airbnb or B&Bs? If you're traveling in a group, can you split the cost of items like fuel and food? Can you buy cheaper food options like noodles and oatmeal instead of expensive freeze-dried meals? Estimate your on-trail costs. Will you be stopping in shops or pubs or cafes en route for food or drinks? Try set a budget and stick to it. My top tip: self-care and foot care routine. So every morning in my tent, I made sure to spend at least 10 to 15 minutes just doing some gentle stretches. So nothing too complicated, hip openers, some gentle twists, whatever it works for you to kind of like loosen out the body before you get on the trail for a full day of hiking. Then after my stretches, what did I do? I drank a ton of water to rehydrate myself. Then after that, spent about 5 minutes massaging some Tiger Balm into the areas where I felt like I needed it the most. Honestly, this routine for me, I think saved me from potential injuries and it kind of like prepped my body and my mind for like a full day out on the trail. Okay, the last part of my self-care routine, which honestly I think is going to be the most valuable piece of information I have given in this entire video, is your feet. There is just nothing worse than doing a hike and then getting a blister in like the weirdest of places on your feet. It just ruins your entire trip. So here I'm going to give you a couple of tips that actually saved my feet and I did not get one blister on the entire 6 days of the Wicklow Way. Okay, let me introduce you to your new best friend. This is Run Guard. Every morning, myself and the gals on the trail would get this stick and we would just smother our entire foot with this gold in between your toes, on your nail, on the sole of your foot, back of your ankle, your entire foot, you cover in this, and then you kind of massage it in. And then what you do is put on your hiking socks. It kind of feels a bit weird and a bit gross and a bit icky at the start, but trust me, it works. And then when you get to camp, you take off your socks and then you get some talcum powder, and then you put some talcum powder, same as this, all over your foot, and it kind of like dries it out. And then you put on a different pair of hiking socks. The next morning you get out of your tent and you do the whole process over again. It takes about like 5 minutes, 5 minutes in the evening, 5 minutes in the morning. But if you want to be able to do your hike with blister free, then honestly, game changer. Attitude and challenges. Expect obstacles. No matter how much you've planned and prepared, you are more than likely going to encounter some challenges along the way, big or small. For myself, my waterproof pants ripped in 2 places. Madeline left her hiking boots out in the rain. So there's like little things, like no matter what you do, like you've got everything prepped and prepared and ready to go, something is going to happen and it's just going to like affect your day. But be accepting of them, Your attitude is what is going to make these challenges, I suppose, easier to overcome. Something that I found so lovely and so helpful was our morning check-in circles. A lovely opportunity for each of us in the group to kind of like share how we were feeling, collectively like address the challenges that each of us were facing, focus then on the hike, on the day itself. Here are some other helpful tips. Set small goals each day. Your hike is simply that. Lots of small steps in one direction. Hike your own hike. Don't feel pressured to match another person's pace. Take a short 5 to 10 minute rest and rehydrate stop every 5 kilometers. It's so easy just to push on, but your mind and body will thank you for it. Take time to connect in with your surroundings. Make a group playlist. This helped us so much on the parts of the trail where we struggled. Each of us in the group offered up something when we felt like the mood was low. I had a cooler box at camp that was full of the makings for margaritas and the good nachos and dips. Madeline offered us a disposable camera each, and Sinead brought whiskey, and Sarah offered us a 10-minute relaxing nature connection session. Each of these came at exactly the right time. Don't give up on the days when you feel exhausted or overwhelmed. Things are always better in the morning after a good night's sleep. A cup of coffee and a morning check-in chat with your fellow hikers. Keep going. Lastly, after all that I've said about planning, don't over-plan. It's an adventure. So stay flexible, welcome the unexpected. It honestly takes, I think, doing your first thru hike to like really learn and I suppose strike the right balance. At the end of it all, your hike is for you, right? So remember to just like enjoy it, have fun, and like not take yourself too seriously. And lastly, remember to adhere to the leave no trace principles in the outdoors. And also be kind to your fellow hikers when you're on the trail and just keep on hiking on. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, all I ask is that you like this video and then leave a comment in the comment sections below. And until next time, make sure to get outdoors and go wild. If your pack weight is too heavy, you will struggle to carry your pack and will most likely end up with an injury or coming off trail.